Hello and welcome to the SportsGrad podcast. My name is Ryan Walker, and with me, as always, is the almighty Ruben Williams. How are you, mate?
G'day, Ryan. I'm doing fantastic. Always a pleasure to do the podcast with you. Brilliant to see your face again. And looking forward to this episode. I think there's a few bits of information in here that will, help a lot of people.
Absolutely. And speaking of this episode, we better get straight into it, but we won't do that without a good little word from our friends at Deakin University, where every single course is backed by industry experts. So you can be confident you'll get the job you want with a degree employers want. Deakin University, progressive real world learning. Rubes, our other good friend, Sports Where I Am, on fire at the moment. Massive
Yep.
summer coming up.
Heaps of
Literally,
events.
yeah, it's crazy with the world opening up. No matter where you are in the world, if you want to click on Sports Where I Am and check out what sport is near you, that's the place to do it. And you know what? There's actually a little offer that we can give to SportsGrad listeners.
We
And
love
that
an
is
offer.
5% off. So go to sportswheream.com, find your favorite sport, use the code for 5% off your tickets. If you want to learn a little bit more about us, who we are, or want to ask us a couple of questions, feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn. You can find a link to do so in our show notes. Rubes, you pumped this episode up, and I'm pretty confident this is going to be a cracker. So I'm going to hand it over to you.
Sure thing, Ryan. Well, today is all about interviews. So a lot of people might dread an interview. I know a lot of nerves come to the surface when you've got an interview. So today we're talking about 7 ways to boost your confidence when you do have an interview, because when you're confident, you can speak clearly, you know what you're talking about, and you just deliver your pitch a lot more effectively, Ryan, which is obviously going to help you get the job. So today, 7 ways to boost your confidence for an interview. Now, number 1, reduce the stakes in your mind. So, Ryan, one of the reasons why people get so overwhelmed by it is because they think their next interview is the be all and end all. They think if I don't get this job, then what else is there out for me? This is the last remaining thing left. Or if I don't get the job, then I'm a failure. I'm not as good as other people. Those sort of thoughts, just cripple you and start to, eat away in your mind and take away from all the good stuff that you've got to share. So, number 1, do whatever you need to do to reduce the stakes. So, for me, I would just tell myself that I don't actually care if I get the job or not.
Yeah.
And so I would walk into these interviews quite flippantly, and it would help me just relax and deliver everything I knew about myself in a really effective way. So, number 1, reduce the stakes in your mind.
Love that. I did the same thing for my first job at CA. I literally said, you know what? If I get this, so be it. It's that's life. So I'm all for that one.
That's it. So once you've got your head in a good place, number 2 is script out all your answers. You're not going to remember these verbatim, and nor do I recommend trying to rehearse them and repeat them just as you scripted it. But if you script it out, you can start to get your ideal answer on paper, and then that's just going to help your preparation so that you understand more about what you want to say, because it will come to you. It won't be word for word, but it will come to you. So number 2, do your preparation by scripting out the answers to your interview questions. And obviously, you don't know what questions you're going to get asked. So write down a whole list of them that you predict you're going to get asked.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a tough one. You want to script it all out. You want to remember every word. It's not going to happen. Don't remember every word because you want it to be authentic at the same time. But if you know what you're going to say for each question, you can't go wrong.
Absolutely. And when you deliver a lot more authentically, it just comes off a lot better as well. So that leads me to number 3. Number 3 is rehearse it to a friend. Just get your friend to ask you a few questions that you've scripted and have a go at sharing the key information. You'll have a few key points you want to get across. The rest you can kind of work around, but just build up repetitions of rehearsing it to a friend, because that's going to give you confidence to know that you can pull it out when required.
Love it. Our old use of the friend. How good is it?
Absolutely.
It's perfect prep.
Exactly. Um, Then, so now that you've done your preparation, you know what you're going to say, you've rehearsed it to your friend a few times. When you get to the interview, the other nervous part is, what's the first impression going to be? So rehearse this, plan it out in your mind. When I arrive in the building, I'm going to, greet the receptionist or greet whoever's there, shake their hand, look them in the eye, ask them a question about how they're going or something else. Just plan this stuff out in advance so you know what your first impression is going to be. Because otherwise, when you leave things to chance, that's when the nerves start to come back. So this is all about boosting your confidence. And another pragmatic way that you can boost your confidence is to plan out your entrance. And just on that, Ryan, another way to boost your confidence as well is to do the reverse of that. So plan your exit, plan the final impression you want to make on the interviewers so that you are really clear on what sort of impression you're leaving them with. And again, don't leave anything to chance because that's when the uncertainty can creep into your mind and anxiety can start to take over. So just as you're going to plan your entrance, you're going to plan your exit strategy as well.
Love it. I love the plan your entrance one because one of my things I used to do was just be totally honest. So, an interviewer will often ask you, so, oh, like, how you feeling? And I'll, like, most of the time I'll be like, I'm nervous as. Like, I'll be totally honest. Like, yeah, I'm nervous. I'm nervous right now. That is totally normal.
Mm,
But glad to be here.
yep.
So, yeah, almost to the T. If you plan it out, you'll feel like you've done it before. So it'll be
Mm.
more, you'll be fine.
Absolutely. So that's 4 and 5. Number 6 is speak to the interviewer in advance. Now, one of the reasons why you might get nervous in an interview is because you're meeting someone new for the first time. So overcome that by speak to them for the first time in advance. Call them up, get in contact with the organization and arrange to speak with them ahead of time. This could be for something like, oh, you want to learn more about the role to see if it's suited for you or any questions about how the interview process is going to go. If you just get the first interaction out of the way ahead of time, it can make the actual interview a lot easier and a lot less stressful. So number 6, speak to the interviewer in advance.
Love that, Rubes. And I believe our next episode might be looking at something similar to that. So
Mm.
stay tuned.
Absolutely. Stick around next week. And finally, number 7, work on your communication all year round. At the end of the day, an interview is just a test of your self awareness and your ability to communicate. So, how well do you know yourself and how well can you tell someone else about yourself? So if you work on this all year round, if you work on your communication all year round, because you're not going to just be tested on it in an interview, you're going to be tested on it in conversations or over coffee or at parties or anywhere. If you just work on understanding yourself and how you communicate to other people, you're going to be so well prepared to interview in all these different contexts all year round. So continue to work on your communication outside of just the times when you've got a job interview.
Love it. I think those 7 really capture the full picture. And I think not like number one thing is if you're confident in an interview, I mean, I'm throwing out numbers here, Rose, but I reckon you're 10 times as likely to get it than if you come in and you're not confident or you're not even sure you can do the job. You don't even know
Mm,
why you're there.
yep.
Confidence is everything.
Absolutely, Ryan.
Awesome. Well done, mate. Another masterclass. I love them. I'm pretty
Thank
used
you,
to them
Ryan.
now. It's 139 episodes in. You thought you would be, but amazing work. If you loved what you heard today or you just want to ask us some questions, get in touch on LinkedIn. As I mentioned, all the links to do that are in the show notes. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.